The point I'm going to discuss now is physical labor and how this was one of the primary shifts that took place when I got to the farm in terms of the kind of education that I was receiving with Desteni. So the physical labor aspect of my application has 3 points within it. One of them is working with the breath. This was like when you're working on the forums, and if you know the Desteni material, you know that one of the tools that is offered is breath. There's lots of writing and documents talking about breath as a point of as a tool you can use to assist and support yourself within this world. So that really started to come through once I got to the farm, from the perspective of now having to apply myself within physical labor. Initially when it comes up, like there's a resistance that I had built up towards doing physical labor, so that's when you would have to breathe and push through that physical resistance rather than give into it. You just focus on breathing and remaining here and not going into the resistance. And within that, that's something that I would have to apply daily, because with the responsibilities on the farm, you're doing physical labor, or I was doing physical labor quite often there, so it was a point that I was constantly having to push through, and it really was the first time I began to utilize the point of breath. One of the first times I began to utilize the point of breath as assisting myself to actually push through any resistance that I had and take responsibility for myself within working physically. Which is the next point. The physical labor point represented a point of responsibility in terms of what I realized with working with Desteni is that physical labor is a point of self-responsibility. We are in a physical world, and in order to correct the situation, we actually have to physically correct the situation. We have to take the steps in the physical. You can't just imagine a house being built and it's going to be built. You actually have to physically, step by step, build the house. So as I worked with physical labor, my attention and awareness within doing that was placed on the physical from the perspective of seeing it now as a point of responsibility and practicality, where you have to apply yourself within the physical to actually make any progress, so to speak. So there was that point. I mean, it was very cool in a way to work with all sorts of things that came up. So within the physical labor point, it's like you don't limit yourself to what you can do, because there's a variety of things, and so within that I'm developing, or had the opportunity to develop myself in a variety of ways, and become multifunctional and be able to do multiple different tasks, which was very cool. You become very practical within your reality, and that can now support me in my world for the rest of my life here. So there was that. What is the final one here? Those are the three main points that I wanted to talk about in terms of what began happening in terms of the shift of my education, where now when I got to the farm I started to apply myself in the physical. One final point to mention about that is it was also a process of remaining here. I mentioned the breath, but when you're working with the physical, it's like you cannot participate with the mind. So rather than for example, sit in front of your computer, or lay in bed in the morning and go over what you need to do in your mind, think about, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and really get involved in your mind. Working physically really assisted for me in remaining here and remaining clear, because my focus was here on the physical and not in my mind in some alternate dimension. That this physical reality is the dimension that actually we need to focus on in terms of practical correction. So it's another point.